your alumni mentor. Can you talk a bit about, again, go back to the issue of quality control, how that works in the context of the alumni relations program, both on the student side as well as on the alumni side?
Sure. So I guess just touching on the quality control, sort of the last question, I think a major thing that I left out is the transition from year to year. So I think that's a really important part. I think it's really important that you have a very defined transition period where the old leaders sort of transfer the knowledge and transfer the resources to the incoming ones. So I think if you don't have that, it's just sort of, that's where things sort of get dropped. On the mentorship program specifically, I think you mentioned sort of the operative word, which is personalization. So one thing that we do when we're starting the year is sort of send out a survey to people to see sort of what are your career interests, where do you see yourself in 5 years, and then we sort of match that data with our alumni network data and sort of trying to match up people based on their respective interests. So if someone said, you know, I want to work on the West Coast in banking, we'll go to our alumni list and say, hey, you know, John is working over on the West Coast in banking, so we're going to pair you up with him. And then I think the other major thing is sort of the difference between networking and relationships. So I think if you talk to a lot of people, they'll say, you know, get your Excel list out and start calling as many people as you can. And personally, I think that's sort of a waste of time. I think it's much more important to focus on, you know, 2 or 3 people and really develop a relationship with them over the year. So when it comes time to, you know, ask for a favor, they really want to do it rather than sort of feel sort of on the fence about it. So I mean, I think the main thing that we do differently than a lot of groups is sort of try to focus on that personalization part.
So we're the exact opposite. We have a really not so great alumni retention. I'm actually alumni director this year, and I have to sort of start from scratch because no one's ever focused on this part before. And so we're actually modeling a lot of stuff off of Queens and Quick. I think everything that they're doing is great. We just don't have any system in place. Like, we don't even know where our alumni are per se. Like, I know people from the last 2 or 3 boards, but before that, not so much. So kind of embarrassing for me to be up here and telling you that. We're working on it, though.
I think we also have that kind of institutional memory problem. Jonathan, I would just be curious, like, what do these mentoring relationships involve? Like, you know, do you just send, like, I don't understand, I mean, what fills the email.
So I think the short answer it basically is what you make it. So, I mean, I'm not going to lie, there probably are mentor relationships that aren't that substantive, but there are also ones that probably are going to last for a lifetime. So I think in terms of sort of what the average relationship would look like, it would probably involve, you know, probably every month or 2 sort of catching up, whether it's on the phone if you're sort of in different geographies, or if you're close enough to sort of drop into town, grab a coffee, maybe try to do that. But I think the main thing is just sort of keeping open dialogue, sort of updating them on what you're doing, sort of where you want to be. But I think at the end of the day, it is sort of what you make it.
I think also there is a review process internally in terms of quality control. Honestly, part of the reason why I wanted to talk about quality control is because that's one of the distinguishing features of your alumni program. You have your students as well as the alumni actually assessed. So I think that's key. But Matt?
Like, one thing I'd really highly emphasize is really, like, convince your members that, like, they shouldn't be scared to talk to alumni. Like, I don't know about the rest of you, but when I was a freshman, for whatever reason, I had, like, an inhibition about doing that. And when we talk to our younger members, they have an inhibition about doing that. Like, if they don't know the alumnus, then they don't feel comfortable going and reaching out and asking for help, asking for meetings, asking for et cetera. And usually the alumni, at least in our case, are very excited to, like, help, since, you know, our organization was such a big help to them. So it becomes this, like, big disconnect in communication, and then you lose such an opportunity for your members. So it's, you know, in my mind, just a very big imperative for us to really educate people about, you have this great resource here that we're building. Please go use it, because it will really help you.